Here. Item 8, SB 332.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will try to be brief. I'd like to start by accepting the amendments proposed on page 4 of the committee analysis. What SB 332 does is authorizes a mandated reporter to make suspected child abuse and neglect reports to a school district police department. This school district police departments were omitted from those who can accept mandated reports because when the bill was originally passed, very few districts actually had post-certified police departments. What this does inadvertently is it results in officers on campus who students know the best and are most willing to confide in to be the only ones who are post-certified police who can't take a report from the students who know them and trust them. They have to refer a student instead to another outside agency, and the student often won't want to go to the outside agency and have to tell their story all over again, be re-victimized again. So all SB 332 does is it tries to update the current law by including school police officers to be recipients of such reports. The bill is sponsored by the San Diego School Police Officers Association, and it's supported by PORAC, the Peace Officers Research Association, and the Twin Rivers School Police Association. There's no known opposition. With me here to testify is Jesus Montana, President of the San Diego School Police Officer Association.
Thank you.
Jesus Montana, excuse me.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. There we go. I'll keep it really brief. One of the main questions it asks is why were school police excluded when this law was enacted? That was because this was enacted in the early 80s. School police was not within the post guidelines of being required to go through a police academy. In the mid 80s, that was corrected, but this law was not updated at that time. So we're taking an antiquated bill and bringing it back up to times. Our school police officers, all 22 school police departments in the state, build relationships with our staff, and our staff should be able to go to their police officers to give a report that they receive on a child that's been victimized through some type of child abuse.
Thank you very much.
John Lovell, on behalf of the California College and University Police Chiefs Association, echoing the comments of the previous witness, we support the bill.
Thank you. Others in support? Speakers in opposition? If there's others in support, please come up and support.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. William Cho from the Twin Rivers School Police Association in support.
Thank you. If there are no others in support, are there speakers in opposition to the bill? Seeing and hearing none, are there questions and comments from the committee? Senator Anderson.
Senator Block, this is outstanding bill. I'd like to be added as a co-author. And Madam Chair, I'd be happy to move the bill when you're ready.
Okay, the motion is due pass as amended to appropriations because you accepted the amendments, correct?
Correct.
Good. Senator Stone.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I also would like to commend the author. I'd like to also be a co-author.
Thank you. Okay. The motion due pass as amended to appropriations. Please read the roll.
Hancock.
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Anderson.
Aye.
Anderson, aye. Leno. Lou. Lou, aye. McGuire. Monning.
Aye.
Monning, aye. Stone.
Aye.
Stone, aye.
Thank you. That bill has enough votes to pass. We'll hold the roll open for the absent members.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Monning. I don't see any of our other authors here. SB 165. Item number 4.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I'm here to present Senate Bill 165, which will expand the number and type of environmental crimes that are eligible for additional civil penalties if committed while cultivating a controlled substance. In the last 2 decades, California has experienced an explosion in the underground cultivation of marijuana, bringing with it devastating impacts on the terrestrial and aquatic habitats which marijuana grow sites occupy. Many of these production sites operate on a commercial scale and are responsible for the destruction of acres of forested habitat, the release of toxic rodenticides and chemical fertilizers, and the dumping of waste into the habitats and watershed systems of the Central Coast and northern regions of our state. In 2014 alone, the Department of Fish and Wildlife removed over 135 dams or diversions in rivers and streams, found 340,000 pounds of trash and waste, and discovered close to 70 gallons of chemicals at marijuana grow sites. The National Park Service estimates that the cleanup and reclamation costs of these habitats can cost taxpayers up to $15,000 per acre, with the average grow site being 10 to 20 acres. In 2012, Assemblymember Chesbro authored AB 2284, which allowed for civil penalties to be levied against these bad actors, but only in cases of stream diversion or watershed pollution. SB 165 will expand the type of environmental crimes eligible for these civil penalties to include habitat destruction and land conversion without proper permits, the unlawful take or possession of wildlife, the dumping of hazardous materials or waste in a commercial scale, and the removal of plant life or vegetation without consent. SB 165 will create a greater disincentive to those who may bring further harm on the natural treasures of our state through the irresponsible cultivation of controlled substances. The measure will also provide a revenue source to fund the expensive reclamation and cleanup of these grow sites. I appreciate your time and consideration. With the permission of the chair, I'd like to turn it over to Nick Buckler, the president of the California Fish and Game Wardens Association, to say a few words in support of the measure.
Thank you, Senator Monning. I would note there is no known opposition to this bill. So,
And just, I'm sorry to interrupt. There was a proposed amendment
Yes.
from the committee with respect to an offset where there's finding of a criminal conviction with restitution imposed that would offset a fine, a civil fine amount. And I'm glad to discuss that further, but perhaps after the witness presentation if there's questions. But I'm glad to work with the committee on that. I think it's
fine. Does
good.
that mean that you would take the amendment?
I take the amendment.
Okay, thank
and
you.
appreciate.
And then we'll work on
Good,
language.
thank you.
Good, thanks.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Senators. My name is Nick Buckler. I'm the president of the California Fish and Game Wardens Association. I'll make it brief. This is my very first time testifying before the Senate at the Capitol here, so I really am happy to have the opportunity. I'm here to support Senate Bill 165. In addition to some of the data that Senator Monning provided, I had a couple other kind of harrowing statistics that came up just last year in 2014. In just 8 grow sites in Northern California in October, there were 160 pounds of rat poison. Senator mentioned rodenticide, 160 pounds from just 8 sites over a 3-day operation. This resulted in the death of numerous Pacific fishers. This is documented by the Integral Ecology Research Center. And the effects on water, you can't, I mean, we could go on all day about the effects on water. So I'm here to support the measure. I mean, 600,000 plants were eradicated by game wardens last year, just game wardens alone. At 8 gallons per plant per day, that's almost 5 million gallons of water. The pollution these bad actors wreak on our watersheds needs help. And this is a step in the right direction.
Thank you. Others in support?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Tom Sheehy from Greenberg-Traurig here today on behalf of the California Police Chiefs Association. I want to thank Senator Monning for introducing this legislation and carrying it. It's going to help address a really important scourge here in California. I'm not going to try to echo any of the remarks already made. I would just agree with them, and we would respectfully ask for your aye vote on this measure. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Marty Varadkar on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association. We want to thank again the Senator for bringing this bill forward, this needed environmental enforcement measure forward. Our circuit prosecutors are very familiar with the environmental impact of these illegal grow operations, and this bill would provide them another tool for the use in prosecuting these horrendous environmental.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, John Lovell on behalf of the California Narcotic Officers Association and the California College and University Police Chiefs Association in support.
Thank you. Others in support?
Madam Chair, Sean Rundle with the California Peace Officers Association, also in support.
Thank you. Others in support? Speakers in opposition to the bill? Seeing and hearing none, I think this is a good bill. I've talked with friends up on the north coast and in your area, and it's a needed bill, and I think the idea of civil penalties is a very good way to go. The bill has been moved as amended to appropriations. Please read the roll.
Hancock.
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Anderson.
Aye.
Anderson, aye. Leno. Leno, aye. Lou, aye. McGuire. Monning.
Aye.
Monning, aye. Stone. Stone, aye.
Thank you.
We'll keep the roll open for the absent member, but your bill has enough votes to pass. Thank you. We have 2 bills from Senator Liu, and would the sergeants please call Senator Lara after.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's begin with SB 219. SB 219 updates the clarification of guidelines for administering the Alternative Custody Program for female offenders, commonly known as ACP. The Alternative Custody Program was established by my bill, SB 1266, in 2010, and was intended to offer more appropriate rehabilitative settings to female offenders and inmates who were primarily caregivers to their children. The program, while effective, has gone underutilized. And since implemented in 2011, 7,200 applications have been submitted, with only 460 offenders being approved to participate in ACP. Of those 460 women, 90% have successfully completed the program. Today, you will hear testimony from witnesses chronicling the cumbersome and inconsistent nature of the ACP application process. Some found navigating the process with a pre-existing medical condition to be far more difficult than necessary. So with the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, expansion of Medi-Cal, and the effort to dramatically reduce the inmate population, it is unreasonable to be keeping women who would otherwise qualify for the ACP program from participating due to health problems. Further, serving inmates in the community represents a cost savings for the state. The ACP program is a successful and thoughtfully designed program with a particular focus on rehabilitation and family reunification. It serves as a model for the state-enhanced alternative custody program, as well as alternative custody programs implemented at the county level. And for these reasons, strengthening the program and clarifying the guidelines for the administering of ACP are critical to the program's success and the continued efforts to serve female offenders in our state. And here to testify on the bill's behalf are Mary Gray, a successful participant of the ACP program, and Diana Zuniga, statewide organizer for CURB, California's United for a Responsible Budget. I respectfully ask for your support of the bill.
Thank you. Witnesses and support. Good morning.
ACP program after a long, arduous struggle. When I first read Senator Liu's SB 1266, I was excited beyond belief. I had done 8 years of a 10-year sentence for a white-collar crime. I was indeed the poster child for this legislation. Nonviolent first-time offender, perfect. I waited until the time I was eligible, then I put in my application in July of 2012. From the start, it seemed we were discouraged from applying. A counselor came into our unit and threatened to write anyone up who did not qualify, but had submitted an application. There were so many ways to qualify for the program, yet the prison seemed to find many ways to disqualify us. I was determined, however. I learned along the way that I could not be labeled chronic care and still be participating in the program. I had to stop taking my high blood pressure medication in order to convince the doctor that I was a minimum risk. Counselors told us that the CDCR didn't want to pay for any medical issues once we were out, which might occur, that they could do it cheaper inside. In other words, bring you back to prison and cure whatever happened. To date, I have seen no evidence that our medical needs were being monitored by the CDCR. In fact, as soon as I got out and saw a doctor, I went right back on the medications that I needed to maintain my health. When I first appeared before the ICC committee in September of 2012, I was told I was denied for 3 reasons. Number one, my restitution was too high. as if I could pay it off earning 8 cents an hour. I had not taken SAP, or substance abuse program. I was told when I first got to prison I wasn't eligible for SAP, and they thought I was lying about a previous employment. When I attempted to address their concerns, I found they refused to listen, dismissing me and telling me to transfer across the street to CCWF and then reapply in a year. I cannot tell you how devastating this was to hear. I telephoned my son and told him the news. He took it upon himself to telephone Senator Liu's office and talk to her about the arbitrary way in which the CDCR was handing out denials. In October of 2012, I was called to the counselor's office and told that if I wanted to go on the ACP program, I could do so, but I had to go to FOTEP. I was approved for the ACP in mid-October 2012 and released November 13th. If there were an appeals system, perhaps I would not have needed senatorial intervention. Many women have lost their ability to reach out years ago, and a streamlined appeals process would have been helpful. I am very grateful to Senator Liu, and I want to make things a bit easier for those still struggling to be free. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As always, we appreciate knowing what the experience of people in the system is. Thank you. I would also note there is no known opposition to this bill, and we do have some time constraints.
Thank you. Madam Chair and committee members, my name is Diana Zuniga, and I'm here as a statewide coordinator for Californians United for a Responsible Budget. We are a 70-member organization, all in support of SB 219. It strengthens an existing program created in 2010 by Senator Liu's bill, SB 1266, by ensuring a timely process. It gives the applicants an opportunity to appeal the decision if denied and will encourage the enrollment in medical coverage. One thing I want to highlight is that SB 219 will also allow people with prior mental and medical conditions to be eligible for the program. As you have heard, many of these people have been denied because they were considered medically high risk. In the research of Justice Now, co-sponsor of the bill, we have seen that women with dental issues, diabetes, or mental health needs have been denied. SB 219 is a smart step towards reducing the prison population and decreasing the rates of overcrowding experienced in California women's prisons that have been leading to medical neglect and safety issues. SB 219 will ensure that some women in prison will be reunited with their families and connect them to necessary services, and assist the family towards the process of obtaining economic, social, emotional, and familial security in their communities. It will also save money. This year, the Legislative Analyst's Office reported that a reduction of one person in state prison saves the state about $9,500, while a reduction of one person in a contract bed saves the state $18,500. One of our member organizations, the Time for Change Foundation, has estimated that it costs $6,396 a year to house a mother with 2 children in a community-based organization. And last, SB 219 will contribute, along with other bill proposals, to the durable and sustainable solution to reduce the prison population. This is a necessary and timely step in the right direction, and we would really love your support.
Thank you very much. Others in support?
Misty Rojo, Justice Now, co-sponsor of the bill, in support.
Thank you. Others in support, and please just do Me Too's.
My name is Jerry Elster. I'm the Healing Justice Coordinator for American Friends Service Committee, and we support this bill.
Thank you.
Lizzie Buchan with the Center on Juvenile and Criminal Justice. We support this bill.
Jim Lindberg, Friends Committee on Legislation of California, in support.
National Association of Social Workers, California chapter, in support.
Good morning, Californians for Safety and Justice, in support.
Ella Baker, Center for Human Rights, in support.
Khalif Masagai, California Public Defenders Association, in support.
Dennis Garcia on behalf of the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice, in support.
Salima Hankins on behalf of Dignity and Power Now, in support.
Erica Del Cruz on behalf of Justice Now, in support.
Robin Gilmore, Life Support Alliance, a strong Me Too.
Thank you all very much. Others in support? Are there any speakers in opposition to the bill? Seeing and hearing none, The bill has been moved. Senator Liu, this is, I think, a very good and timely bill, follows up on some discussions we've had with CDCR and our visits to the women's prisons in California. I would like to be added as a co-author as the bill moves forward. It has
Thank you
no
very much.
amendments in this committee, but if there's an opportunity. Seeing and hearing no comments or questions, please read the roll.
Hancock.
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Anderson? No. Anderson, no. Leno? Aye. Leno, aye. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. McGuire? Monning? Aye. Monning, aye. Stone? No. Stone, no.
Okay, 4-2. We'll hold the roll open for the absent member.
I have one
Senator
more.
Liu, yeah, we do have another author that's not on the committee here now, so we'll come back to you in a minute. Senator Laura? Thank you, Senator Liu.
I move the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members, for allowing me to talk to you a bit about SB 411, the Right to Record Act, which will clarify existing law regarding an individual's right to record police officers. Our Constitution guarantees us all from the fundamental right to freedom of speech. Recent events throughout the country and here in California have raised questions about when an individual can and cannot record. Additionally, this bill will prove useful for law enforcement officers. There have been many instances where recordings have helped clear police officers of alleged wrongdoing. We are in a day and age where mostly everyone has handheld recording devices, and current statutes are not clear on what constitutes an obstruction of an officer when using these devices to record police officers in public. The lack of clarity has increased conflict between police officers and members of the public, and SB 411 seeks to help alleviate this growing problem. Specifically, the bill clarifies existing law that a person recording an officer in and of itself is not a punishable offense. The bill specifies that individuals cannot interfere with an officer's ability to exercise his or her duties or obstruct officers in any way. The purpose of this bill is to make, the bill is not to make law enforcement's job more difficult, but rather to clarify existing law to limit future conflicts between officers and civilians. I believe this is a win for the public and it's a win for law enforcement. I hope you would join me in erasing ambiguity, enhance transparency, and ensure the freedom of speech is protected for both civilians and police officers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Laura. I note there is no known opposition to the bill, and we do have to adjourn in just a few minutes. So,
Thank you. I'll be brief. My name is Susan Israel. I'm a lawyer with the Public Defender's Office, San Bernardino County, also the California Public Defenders Association, and we support this bill. It's a very modest proposal. It's only clarifying the existing state of the law. What it does is give some clarification and the guidance to law enforcement and to the citizens as to the parameters of recording in public. While the police officers generally know the First Amendment rights of the public, often citizens are arrested and detained and charged with this crime. For example, in San Bernardino County, a homeowner was in his own yard videotaping the police having if you call it, a spirited discussion with his neighbor in the neighbor's yard. Nonetheless, this homeowner was arrested with resisting arrest, obstructing, delaying a police officer. He was charged, he was brought to court. Eventually, cooler heads prevailed and the case was dismissed, but that's only after a huge waste of resources that could be better spent elsewhere.
thank you. Others in support?
Jim Ewert with the California Newspaper Publishers Association. This is a balanced bill, and it recognizes the ability of law enforcement to continue to arrest someone if they actually engage in conduct that restricts or causes a problem with an officer's ability to carry out their duty. We urge an aye vote.
Thank you very much.
Natasha Minsker, ACLU of California, in support.
Dennis Garcia, on behalf of the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice, co-sponsor of this bill, in support.
Jim Lindberg on behalf of the Friends Committee on Legislation of California, in support.
Jerry Officer from American Friends Service Committee, in support.
Carol Strickman, Legal Services for Prisoners with Children in Support.
Khalif Osagai on behalf of CPDA or sponsors, and I'd also like to register the support of the California Conference of Bar Associations, who are the other co-sponsors of this bill.
Thank you. Okay, this Senator, that's fine. Let me just ask if there's any, are there any speakers in opposition to the bill? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Anderson.
I like the bill a lot, but there is one question that I have, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you before about this. So let's say someone's being arrested, or they're having some conversation with law enforcement. We've had revenge porn sites. I'm concerned about someone taking it not because they're filming the officer, but they're filming somebody who's being questioned by the officer. It may not result in them being guilty of anything, but, I mean, have you put any thought to possible privacy protections for those individuals? In the case of the neighbor recording, that neighbor could be in their yard with no expectation of being recorded, and now you've got a neighbor posting this on the web saying, hey, look what happened to Bob, and, you know, Bob's a bad guy, and I'm just worried about us. I like this in principle. I'm just concerned about people abusing it and encouraging those people to film things that are perhaps private moments.
Senator Anderson, this bill specifically deals with and addresses the issue of recording police officers. I don't think this would apply, but I mean, if our sponsor would like to address this issue.
Sure. We did take into consideration the privacy protections of the individuals being filmed. We think that it outweighs the ability to record a police officer conduct and protect his First Amendment right in public places outweighs that particular privacy protection. Also, it's not a crime currently if you were to, you know, in my understanding, to reach over and record your neighbor in their yard either. I mean, we're not trying to codify that would be an appropriate practice, but certainly this is based on the conduct of police officers and ensuring that is captured for review.
My concern is that we have several bills going through the legislature dealing with UAVs, filming neighbors. And now we may have a conflicting code that says absolutely you have a right to have your UAV filming in someone's backyard where they're having a conversation with a police officer. So that's the difficulty I have going through this. I don't want a ripple effect. I'll be supporting the bill today, but if there was some way that we could address that issue, and it may be that we just can't. But
let us look further into that, Senator Anderson, and as the bill moves forward, we'll definitely keep that in consideration and keep you abreast of any of the thoughts that we come up with as this bill moves forward.
I just don't want to see it being misused as a weapon against a neighbor when the neighbor's done nothing wrong.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments, or is there a motion? Senator Leno.
The need to clarify this is very important, and it comes at the right time. I would like to be added as a co-author if, in fact, there are amendments to be taken, and I do move the bill.
Thank you, sir.
The bill has been moved. Please read the roll.
Hancock.
Aye.
Hancock, aye. Anderson. Aye. Anderson, aye. Leno. Aye. Leno, aye. Lou. Lou, aye. McGuire. Monning. Aye. Monning, aye. Stone. Stone, aye.
Bill has enough votes. We'll hold the roll open for the absent member. Thank you, Senator Lawrence.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members.
Senator Liu, your second bill.